G'day, I'm Graham Ross from the Garden Clinic. Welcome, and one of the most popular perennials that we grow in our garden are the Agapanthus. Pretty much every church garden in the country has these out the front, but they are the sky blue ones and the white. Now, unfortunately, they seed like the dickens. Now, if the local elders and the people attached to that church could cut those flowers off when they finish, it'd save a lot of grief from the bushland people who don't like them invading into our bushland. Way back in the late 20th century, early 21st, a whole lot of hybrids started to get released, and they are infertile. They don't produce seed. And the colours are spectacular. Now, I've got a few that I'll show you in a moment that are bicoloured, but how about these fellows here? They're a beautiful dark amethyst blue. Now, there are quite a few different names. To be quite honest, I've lost the names of these two hybrids. They look very similar. That's the only reason I don't get too hung up on the names, because a lot of growers tend to use their own name for something that looks similar to somebody else's. So if you're looking for really dark blue ones, go for the new hybrids that are named and are generally infertile. One of the interesting things about growing Agapanthus in your own garden or in a large tub is that when the flowers finish, you've got to cut them down anyway so that the energy goes back down into the bulb. They do like plenty of sunshine. They come from South Africa, so they like plenty of heat. That's why those neglected gardens around churches tend to be very popular, or the entranceway into our country towns, especially around the coastline of the country. But in your own garden, if you feed them and give them a bit of extra water and TLC, they'll really do very well, especially the new hybrids. Some are dwarf, some are tall, some are bicoloured. Now, if you love the colour combinations in the garden, it's sometimes easy to go for opposites in the colour wheel. So these dark blues and these rich oranges and tangerines. These are canna lilies, and they've just been beautiful. They're starting to finish their first flush, but they'll come back. But look at the variegated leaves. Aren't they stunning? So these variegated ones with these orange flowers, or yellow, or dark burgundy, you can buy in the garden centres pretty much any time of the year. Sometimes from a corm in a bag, or they're actually grown and sold mail order or in a pot at your garden centre. But let me show you some of the other varieties that we've got in our garden. So this is one of the new bicoloured ones. In the backyard, not flowering yet, but lots of buds coming up, is Queen Mum. Don't know about the name, but certainly the plant is a ripper. It's a bigger flower than this with more flowers, but it has the same colour combination of the white outer petals and the purpley blue deep in the centre of each individual flower. So these are the new colours that are coming out and are really worth looking for. Remember, most of these are infertile, so they won't be spreading seed in your garden or in the bush. And whatever you do, if you're digging up an old clump of Agapanthus, don't dump them on the side of the road, because they will spread into our bush, and we don't want that to happen. So a little bit of courtesy, care and looking after our natural bushland is important. So what other colours have we got, apart from this bicoloured one here, of which there are quite a few? Of course, look at the whites. The whites are fantastic. There's a little dwarf white, and this is a medium-sized white, and they're lovely and beautiful and pure white, and a beaut little plant to have in the garden. But the colours don't finish there. How about this new amethyst? Isn't that an incredible colour? So when that opens fully, it'll be a lovely amethyst colour, which is a sort of what we call a colour break, a new colour range in the Agapanthus. A great crop to grow. Look for the new hybrids. They're infertile, don't produce seed, but they do attract bees because they allow the flower and the bee to open up and the bees to get in there. And that's how you'll have a beautiful colour display right the way through summer. Agapanthus. Yeah, they're often maligned, but the new ones are really fantastic to grow.